Other than some generic statements like we won't see 3 tanks in the near future, I haven't seen many good discussions on the future of the meta in Overwatch. If the Roadhog hook changes go through, the D.Va nerfs go through, and the Ana nerfs go through. Sure, we won't see as many tanks anymore, but what will we be seeing? What heroes am I going to see when I hop in a game of competitive play? And what will I be seeing when I hop into a Twitch stream of a pro game? That's what we're going to speculate over today. Let's talk about what I think we're going to be seeing in the pro scene, in high-level competitive play, and at medium and lower ranks of competitive play. That way you can know what you're getting into and maybe prepare if you want to gain some SR. Let's first talk about the support category of heroes. Ana received a nerf to her grenades, so grenaded targets only receive a 50% increase in healing instead of the old 100% increase, so doubling the healing they received. This nerf means people can't overextend and still survive because of OP Ana healing, and it's a pretty good thing because I actually think it raises the skill ceiling in the game. Now you can't have Roadhog running way in front of his Reinhardt shield, going for a crazy hook, landing that crazy hook, and then getting healed up by his Ana. That just won't happen as much anymore, so you're gonna have to play a little bit safer, knowing that Ana can't just, keep you topped off on HP with her OP heals. What does this mean for supports exactly? Well, at high level play, I think Ana is still going to be the go-to support, probably with Lucio if I'd had to wager a guess. And it's because even though tanks are a little bit weaker, Ana still has the highest amount of healing, and pro players don't have a problem hitting small targets with their heals. Ana is like the skill healer. When you have a lot of tanks, it doesn't take any skill to heal. But, pro players still have that skill, so when you reduce the amount of tanks in a game, they can still land shots on smaller heroes. They can still heal up the DPSs just fine. And the grenade still works great on non-tanks. Even tanks, the grenade is still good. You have to remember that Ana's heals are still crazy on their own, and the grenade still gives you a boost in HP healing. So that, coupled with the fact that it can still deny heals, Ana's still going to be good. And compared to other supports, none of them even compare still, in my opinion. Mercy doesn't do nearly enough. She has no utility at all. Zenyatta, he does a lot of damage, but he can get caught out pretty easily, and he also lacks the utility of an Ana. And actually, Zenyatta's probably going to be a bit weaker now because he's really good against tanks. His discords used to shred tanks. With less tanks around, Zenyatta's not going to be seen as much. Lucio, on the other hand, is going to be seen more, I think. Now you have those mobility comps, that speed boost, and you're going to need that speed boost to stay alive in certain situations. So as far as supports go, I'm going to say the two OP supports are going to be Ana and Lucio without a doubt. Tank-wise, we're going to see some big hits to very popular tanks. D.Va and Roadhog are both kind of getting, it's not going to be good. I did say I like Roadhog's new hook better, and I meant I liked it better as far as a balance standpoint. It's harder to land hooks, but when you do, you pretty much are guaranteed the insta-kill. That's why I like it better. I don't think it's actually more powerful than before. I just think it feels better for the game. This means at pro play, you're not going to see him nearly as much, but I guess we're not pro players, so that's just going to change the viewing experience. For you, I think, if you're in higher level competitive play, you may not see him a little bit. He may fall out of the meta a bit, but as you go down and lower into the ranks, Roadhog is still going to be good. In fact, some people are trying to make the case that Roadhog is going to be better at lower ranks because you don't need to turn 180 degrees and do fancy stuff to kill people like Ana anymore. So when you land that hook, it's a free kill, and at lower ranks, that free kill is huge. As far as D.Va goes, everyone I think is overreacting to these nerfs. Yes, she was hit kind of hard. I do agree with that, but it's not necessarily the end of the world for D.Va. She's just going to be harder to play now. You just don't get to live forever and get away with it and deal damage at the same time. D.Va used to be OP. We can't deny that. D.Va is now balanced. You now have to know your limits. You now have to beware of people like Reaper because, previously, Reaper, who counters tanks, couldn't do anything against D.Va because of all her armor. Now she actually has to be aware of these things. She has counters, and she can't just waste her defense matrix because she has a ton of HP. She has to, skillfully know when to defense matrix because she doesn't live as long anymore. So I think the D.Va nerfs are well deserved, and I still think good D.Va players will still be good. I don't think she's fallen out of the meta nearly as much as other people do because you have to remember she can still keep her Reinhardt shield alive. She can still block every ultimate in the game with her defense matrix. She's still not a bad hero. As far as other tanks go, I think Reinhardt's still going to be a must pick. I think Winston's going to be better now because there are less tanks around, and he does better against lower HP targets because of his low damage output. And I also think Zarya is going to be a little bit better. D.Va was just so powerful that she was almost always picked over Zarya or in conjunction with Zarya in the 4-tank setup. But now Zarya actually properly counters D.Va because of her less armor and a little bit less damage. So I think we're going to see a little bit more Zarya Zarya in the game as well. Now let's move on to the exciting part, the DPS heroes. Yes, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about these bad boys because they're coming back into the meta, I think. This is just speculation. The whole video is speculation, but I think we're going to see a 2-2-2 setup from now on, which means double the DPS heroes, and hopefully it means DPS mains like me will actually be able to climb. You know, yay, woohoo, that's going to be my excuse for the season. I'm a DPS main. But anyway, let's talk about the DPS heroes. We're going to start with Soldier 76 because he's the most prevalent right now in the meta. And I'm going to go ahead and say, I think he's going to be a little bit worse than before. Not a lot worse, just a little bit. His spread on his weapon used to not be a factor because tanks have very big hitboxes. He can just hold down left click on people like Roadhog, D.Va, any of the tanks. He just holds down left click. Against smaller targets like, you know, any of the DPS heroes and any of the supports, it's going to be a little bit harder for him. He's going to have to burst fire and manage his shots a little bit better. The reason I don't think he's going to be a lot worse, though, is because D.Va is also a little bit weaker. So now he won't just get countered by D.Va every time he tries to use his ultimate, which could be pretty good for him. As far as other DPS heroes go, I think we're going to see Overwatch in its most balanced state ever. I think almost all of the DPS heroes, with some exceptions, are going to be viable. Let's talk about the exceptions first, and then let's talk about the DPS heroes I think are going to be good. As far as the DPS heroes go that I don't think will be good, I'm seeing Sombra, Bastion, and Junkrat. And I say these three because, well, Sombra just doesn't deal enough damage right now, and her utility is mediocre at best compared to someone like Ana or D.Va, so your utility isn't that great anyway. Bastion, you know, he's just immobile, so you really shouldn't be picking him ever. If I can't lie, Bastion's not ever really a good pick unless you're trying to really cheese someone, but even that doesn't always work. And Junkrat, I think, was better when there were tanks because he could mindlessly shoot into them. Big targets, lots of damage, gets his ult really quickly. Squishier targets means harder targets to hit, and while that does mean less shots to kill for Junkrat, you know, more mobile targets is definitely not a good thing for him. So those three heroes, I think we're not going to see a lot of. Honestly, though, the rest of them seem pretty balanced. I think Genji might be a little bit on the weak side after his nerfs, but he's definitely going to be better now with less tanks than before. McCree is going to be a skill cannon once again because he can now actually use his good aim to take out targets very quickly and not have to shoot Roadhog, you know, 25,000 times. Pharah, I think, will be in a decent spot if you're good at her, but I'm not sure she'll be better than before. You know, the tank meta meant close range combat. Pharah was always long range, so she kind of could rain down on tanks without much resistance. Now there's a chance you're going to run into more hit scan heroes on the enemy team. You could see McCree Soldier, or maybe, you know, McCree Widowmaker. You can see a lot of these other things is what I'm saying, so Pharah might get shot out of the sky a little bit easier. Reaper actually counters tanks now. Woohoo, he can actually kill them. Go Reaper. I think he's going to be good once again. Tracer, as far as flankers go, I think she's going to be the King of the Hill king again. You know, Tracer on King of the Hill has always been decent. I think it's going to be much better now because she can actually assassinate with a lot better potential. There are more targets for her to assassinate because of the lesser amount of tanks. Hanzo and Widow are going to both be better now. They were never bad, but they were never great either. They're both very skill-heavy heroes that if you're good with can carry, but if you're bad with do nothing, and that really hasn't changed, I don't think. Mei will still be used to cheese enemies out of points like Hanamura and, you know, anywhere where she can ice wall one member of the enemy team off. And Torbjorn is going to be Torbjorn. I really think we're going to be in the most balanced state of Overwatch we've been in yet. I think we're going to see heroes specific to different maps, you know, on the maps they excel on, but not every map. I think we're going to see countering between your comp and the enemy comp. If one hero is stomping you, I think we're going to see heroes to actually counter it, not just more tanks. And I generally think the game's going to be more fun to play. And I think that's what's going to be most important here, is it's going to be more fun to play and also more fun to watch. As far as synergies go, I'm not sure what the next OP synergy is going to be. I know we're going to have one. Remember Beyblade meta where it was Ana Reaper? That could come back a bit because D.Va's a little bit weaker. So we could see Ana Reaper again, and maybe with a Lucio to give him a speed boost or something like that. We could see Dive Comp become very meta again because Genji and Winston and Zarya are all much better now than I think they were before. And those three heroes being good, as well as Ana being good, and Zenyatta not being bad means, well, I think Dive Comp could also be super powerful. I think Triple Tank is going to be, you know, a thing, but I don't think it's going to be the meta thing that you have to do. I'm sure some team comps can still run Triple Tank, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as prevalent as it was before after the Roadhog nerfs and even the D.Va nerfs and the Ana nerfs as well. So I think Overwatch is in for some big changes, some more balanced play. And hopefully we'll be able to get that very soon. I just want that new patch to go live already because I want this new update. I want to be able to play DPSs again. And I really like the better game balance between different classes. Tell me what you think down below. Remember, this is all just speculation. However, I will somewhat arrogantly say I think this is better speculation than most give you. So tell me what you think about that down below. Tell me what your opinions are on the new meta down below as well. And leave a like if you enjoyed. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Have a good one. Lone Hawk out.
Drop it.